Hello and welcome to Just One More Watch. Ladies and gentlemen, it's that time of year again. It is almost the 11th of the 11th. Therefore, it's time for my AliExpress Singles Day Top 10 Recommendations video. Now, the sale starts on the 11th, but Ali allows you to put items into your cart during what they refer to as the warm-up period, lock in the sale price, and then come back and check out when the sale begins. And indeed, that is what I have done. I have at least three of these in my personal cart ready to go, and I'll tell you which ones they are over the course of the video. Now, I've got a top 5 San Martins video coming out tomorrow. They are a little more expensive, but today I've tried to keep it really affordable. The first 4 watches, for example, are around the $50 mark. That is proper old school AliExpress pricing, and there's nothing on today's list over $150. I'll leave links to all 10 watches in the order that I show them in the description of the video, but feel free to shop around, see if you can find a better deal. Now, to be clear, I am an AliExpress affiliate. What that means is that if you buy something after clicking on one of those links, they pay me a small finder's fee, they pay me a small commission. You don't pay any more for the product, just so we're clear. Thank you very much. All right, let's get on with it. And I'm going to start at number 1 with the first watch in my cart today, and the watch that potentially offers the best dollar for dollar package on the list, the most bang for your buck. And it's a Cadisen. It's a brand new model. They call it the C8237. It's a full-sized 40-20 dive style watch with all the specs. So sapphire crystal, ceramic bezel, Seiko NH35 automatic movement. And you can have one in a choice of 3 colors for a mere $62.86. Now, I'm on record as saying that the Steel Dive 1970 is the world's best value automatic watch. I'll be really interested to see how close this Cadisen gets. As you saw, 3 different versions are available. There's a blue, there's a black, and there's a white. I'll probably go for the white one. I'm going through a bit of a white dial phase at the moment, and it looks really nice, especially with that baby blue second hand. In fact, all 3 of these watches look really good because, at least in part because, there's just a touch of a secondary complementary color. Orange with the blue, red with the black, and baby blue on the white one. I'll tell you now though, the lume is going to be rubbish, but it does have a 6 o'clock date window, and from these photos, now they're not renders, they're actual photos of the watch, it looks really nice, and for the relatively measly price they're asking for one, this has got to be a bit of a deal. Full review when it arrives, great way to start the list. Now at number 2 is the second watch in my personal cart today as well. I've been getting a lot of good reports about this one. It also happens to be one of the cheapest watches on today's list, coming in at under 50 bucks. It's a really simple 3-hander by Addys Dive. Now again, these are available in 3 different colors. I'm going to go for the mint green because it's a bit different, but there's also a white and a grey. And I was happy to see that they haven't stuck that generic diving iconography logo on this one, or at least not on the dial. It does appear on the crown and the clasp, but for a 50, I'm prepared to forgive them for that. Now, this is also the smallest watch on today's list at 36mm, but it has a 46mm lug to lug, so I think it's going to wear nicely on my average sized wrist. Screw down crown, 100 meters of water resistance, BGW9 lume on the hands and indices, and a piece of K1 hardened mineral crystal in a really nice retro double dome style covering the dial. Plus this one has a Seiko VK31 4-tick quartz movement, making it perfect as an occasional wear grab and go piece. It's always going to be at the right time. I reckon it will be a nicely understated little watch, and for less than a 50, it looks like a real bargain. Now, what self-respecting AliExpress top 10 list would be complete without a Pagani design? So here is my choice for the 11.11 sale. It's the PDYS008, if you must know. And it's a rather attractive, rather chunky, but rather dressy looking chronograph. Now, because it's a Pagani, it doesn't cost much more than a 50 in 4 different color versions. There's a steel case with blue, steel case with black, gold case with brown, and gold case with black. And because it's a Pagani, it's fully spec'd with sapphire crystal, a Seiko movement, 100 meters of water resistance, and a canvas style strap. Now, some of the comments from buyers say that the strap is a little bit lighter than it ought ought to be, but with 20mm lugs, it will be so easy to swap this one for something from your strap collection, which I have no doubt is as considerable as mine is. Moving on to what is, I think, the cheapest watch on a list that has got a number of, let's be honest, fairly cheap watches on it. It's a little mid-century military style piece by Milado. They call this one the ML05, suggesting that there are at least another 4 watches by Milado available for purchase. And the specs on this, again, they look fantastic. It's 38mm, which is the perfect size for this style of military piece. It contains a Seiko VH31 4-tick quartz, just like the Addys Dive, but the Milado gets sapphire crystal with anti-reflective coating, and it comes in at under $40 US. That price is ridiculous. It says here they've sold 1,000 of them. I think they might have just sold one more. This one is also in my cart. 100 meters of water resistance, screw down crown, C3 loom, and your choice of matching or not matching straps. But again, 20mm lug width, you'll have no problem swapping out for one of your choosing. Now there are a couple of different versions available, including one with the old military crowfoot on it. Take your pick. For 40 bucks, I reckon you're unlikely to be disappointed by this one. Next up at number 5, it's an oldie, but it's also a goodie. A watch making its Just One More watch comeback after a 6-year absence. Why, you may well ask? Because I have never seen it this cheap before. It's the Cadisen Diamond. Now, that is not its official name. Its official name is the C8097M. And I reviewed this watch way back in the early days of the channel in 2018. It features a gorgeous piece of domed sapphire crystal and a Miyota 9000 series in its rear. Please look around. If you can find a Miyota 9000 series cheaper than this one, buy it. These are $82 for the white version and a couple more for the black version. That is just so cheap. When I first encountered this watch 6 years ago, it was $189 and I thought it was a bit of a bargain even at that price. Why do I call it the Cadisen Diamond? Well, it features a diamond on the dial set into the index at 12. Now, I appreciate that will either make or break the watch for you. Either it's the cheapest Miyota 9000 series dress watch you've ever seen and it has a diamond on the dial, or it's the cheapest Miyota 9000 series dress watch you've ever seen but it has a diamond on the dial. That, my friends, is over to you. But if you like this one, it gets a 2 thumbs up recommendation. It's a really elegant and well-made watch, and the stock strap is actually usable, which, let's be honest, is quite rare at this price. Next up at number 6, it's another watch in my personal cart today. It's a 50 Fathoms homage by Watch Dives, and depending on which version you go for, we still haven't breached $100 on today's list. Now, I believe this brand, or at least some of their watches anyway, come out of the San Martin factory, so the quality is there, that's a given. There are options with mineral crystal for around $80 US, and if you want sapphire crystal, around $110 US. Now, I would normally recommend you always go for sapphire, but that's quite a jump. So if you're not rough with your watches, perhaps in this case, the mineral is actually the one to go for. Either way, you're getting a very attractive, very wearable 40-20 diver with good loom, with a Seiko NH35 automatic movement, a 120 click bezel, 300 meters of water resistant, and a choice of finishes, either brushed or blasted stainless steel. This one looks fantastic from the photos, and if they do indeed come from the San Martin factory, then you're doing really, really well to get that level of quality, that level of finishing for well under $100 if you do indeed opt for the mineral crystal. And it's a Watch Dives doubleheader because they're also featured at number 7. Now, at first glance, this looks like a fairly standard Speedy lookalike. You know, there's the kind of classic black, there's white, both priced at around $100, give or take a couple. Sapphire crystal, Seiko VK63, and the quality looks good, perhaps a little bit higher than you'd get with a Pagani for an extra few dollars, but it's nothing we haven't seen before, apart from the pink one. One of the hottest luxury watches of 2024 is the pink Tudor Black Bay chronograph. They're selling here in Australia for close to double the list price, about 15 grand Aussie. I reckon pink could be the hot colour of 2025 as it filters down through the rest of the market, and therefore watch dives are ahead of that particular game. You too can be ahead of the colour curve for pretty much bang on $100. So it's a very specific recommendation, this one. For sure, I reckon the black dial and the white dial watches would be fine, but the real one of interest, at least for me anyway, is that pink one. Moving on at number 8 to a watch brand that has sent me at least 40 emails, I'm not even kidding, asked me if I would review them. And I said no to all 40 of those emails. And I'll tell you why. It's because they used to be called Welly Merc. That is a truly awful name. And I told them that it was a truly awful name. I wasn't trying to be rude, but they did send me so many emails and they did ask why I rejected them so many times. So, you know, I told them. But now they have changed their name. They have rebranded to the much less offensive WM watches. So you may well see one on the channel at some point in the future, quite possibly this one. Moonphases are all the rage at the moment, and this is by far the cheapest one that I've seen, costing less than $115 in I'm not so sure blue or far more suitable black dial versions. That is so cheap for what you're getting here, and it looks alright as well. All new watches feature WM on the dial as evidenced by those user photos again, so do check that out for yourself before ordering. The moons are textured and they're also fully loomed, which is just outrageous for that price. The watch is well proportioned at 4120, it features sapphire crystal and a Hangzhou 7200 caliber with a 72-hour power reserve. Now, be warned, this is probably not a true Moonphase. I'd imagine it's a modified date wheel and the brand pretty much admits to that here, but let's all be honest with ourselves for a moment. Who gives a shit about tracking the moon in the first place? We buy these watches because they look good, and this is by far the cheapest that I've seen, definitely worth your consideration. At number 9, it's a twist on a theme from one of my favourite AliExpress brands, Baltany. I've been telling you for years how good Baltany watches are, particularly their military style chronographs. And they've just taken them up another notch by offering one with a solar movement. Generally speaking, it's only the Japanese brands who make the actual movements that make watches using the actual movements. So it's now great to see at least one AliExpress brand doing things a bit differently. And indeed, this watch uses an Epson, so Seiko/Orient solar caliber. You can pick this one up with either a black dial or a brown dial. They're both the same price, they're both well under $150. This one is a great size at 39mm, it has 100 meters of water resistance thanks to a screw down crown and screw down pushers. The sapphire crystal is lovely and the case finish is simple but very effective. And it also has plenty of lume in 2 different colours. So a good looking military chronograph with a solar movement and all the right specs for under $150, an excellent choice. And finally, at number 10, it's a new brand to me, new brand to the channel therefore. That brand is Zezame, as in Open Sesame? Okay, not the best, but it's no Welly Merc, that's for sure. And they have come up with a very attractive looking, well, what do you think it looks like? It's got that kind of 3912 Arabic, so there's a whiff of Rolex Explorer in there. It has cathedral hands, so there's a whiff of Seiko Alpinist in there. And it has a beads of rice bracelet, so there's a whiff of the 1970s in general in there. Now there are a bunch of different retro style colorways, most of which have photina'd lume, one of which even has a gold bezel and gold crown. But the one that really caught my eye is the one that isn't overtly retro. It's the white one. Like I said, I'm into white dial watches at the moment. I think this looks really nice. It looks very legible thanks to that monochromatic colour scheme. It looks super clean. Now proportions look spot on as well for this style of watch. 38, 46, 20. The date is down at 6 to keep things symmetrical. It features sapphire, of course, 100 meters of water resistance, screw down crown, and an Epson YN55 movement. Now, if you haven't heard of that one, it's another Seiko/Orient movement. It's actually the same caliber as features in the back of the Komatsu, so there are no issues there whatsoever. All in all, it looks like a very solid debut effort from the brand, especially considering it comes in at $150 and change. So there you have it, another cracking list of bargain nuggets of horological gold, none of which will sting you more than $150, proving once again you don't have to spend a fortune if you don't want to get a great watch on your wrist. Happy shopping during the sale, folks, and don't forget I'll have a top 10 new San Martin video coming out this time tomorrow and a review of that Solar Baltany published before the sale finishes. If nothing here tickled your fancy, why not check out another couple of AliExpress list videos? Thanks for watching this one. I'll see you again in the next one.